Okay, you might want to have a teenager next to you for this next segment. Social media giant Facebook wants to mint its own digital money, and that's not sitting well with privacy advocates. The company recently unveiled plans for a new cryptocurrency kind of like Bitcoin, called Libra. As business reporter Sam Dean wrote in the LA Times, critics are raising concerns over how user account information and financial data will be used and perhaps exploited. Hi, Sam.
Hey.
I joke, but I do not joke, because unless you're a programmer, it's really dense. It's hard to understand this. To explain to people what cryptocurrency is, if you can, in a sentence, and what this new Facebook product is.
Yeah, I mean, the technology is definitely complicated, but with this, Facebook is basically trying to create a new currency like the dollar or the euro, something that's very stable. And it's actually pegged to, this is called a stable coin. It's pegged to a basket of currencies, so it's kind of a fixed point in the international currency market. Unlike Bitcoin, which acts more like gold, where there's a limited amount, the value goes up and down over the course of the day. It's like a speculative trading thing. This Libra currency is a much more stable. You can use it. You can depend that a loaf of bread will cost roughly the same amount of Libra from day to day if you're paying for your groceries using this, for example. Yeah.
And tell us what the intention is on Facebook's part.
So the intention is right now Facebook needs to use other companies to bring in, like if you want to buy something within Facebook or within WhatsApp, which Facebook owns, or Instagram, which Facebook also owns, you have to use a credit card, you have to use a different company's service, and it takes a little bit of time, and sometimes you might lose customers if they click out and they're like, maybe I don't want to buy that. But if you have a currency that's within Facebook entirely, it'll be an instant thing. You just click, the money goes, and you stay within the ecosystem, and they get to see what you're spending money on and potentially use that to kind of focus more ads towards you based on what they know your spending habits are, things like that. But it keeps you within the ecosystem, which is always good for Facebook.
So if that chair pops up or that sofa on one of those Facebook ads,
yeah.
I don't have to leave and go to PayPal and then go through those steps.
Right, exactly. And because you'll have a reserve of their in-house currency basically already on tap that you've exchanged dollars for, so you can just say bing and it goes through.
All right, so the promise to investors is what?
The people who have the largest scope of this think that it's kind of like creating a new Federal Reserve for the internet on a certain level. Like they're creating a new currency that's digital native that could actually work in a way untethered from governments and actual money, which is a kind of crazy ambition. But yeah, and so investors think, obviously, if Facebook controls the entire new internet economy with this currency, that's good for Facebook. Although they're working on this with a bunch of other companies. They kind of are intentionally separating it from Facebook a little bit. They're like leading this consortium, which involves Uber and PayPal and Visa and MasterCard and all these other companies.
They've all anteed up.
They've all anteed up.
Right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
$10 million to get a stake in the initial pile of cash of real money of euros and dollars and yen that are going to back this digital money.
So I get what's in it for them.
Yeah.
What's the risk to us?
So the risk to us is there's always privacy concerns. We don't know exactly what Facebook is going to be doing with the information that they get from tracking where you move this money around. There's also just the concern that this company, which does not have the same regulations as a bank at this point, does not have the same regulations as a government, it's just like it's a tech company, will be controlling this new financial system.
Well, they already trade off of, it's their business model to trade off of our personal information, right? They sell our data.
Yeah.
They mine our data. And so now this is the merger of our personal data and our financial data. And what's to say that everything doesn't bombard us now that we've bought that color of a chair or lipstick or whatever, we're just going to be targeted ads are going to be coming at us nonstop.
Right, and that's already happens to a certain degree because Facebook can get data from the credit card companies and things like that. But actually, more than a threat to consumers, this might be a threat to the existing financial system.
To banks and to governments.
Because yeah, this is cutting banks out of the internet, functionally. Banks get to exist on the end where you put money into this thing, but they don't get to see anything that happens in the meantime. Whereas now credit cards, banks get to see everything that you spend money on, and that's a big part of their business and understanding risk for consumers and stuff like that. But now Facebook will get all of that just itself.
I feel like we've talked about this before, but it seems once again that laws and the lawmakers who make them are 10 steps behind the technology as we are rolling it out and implementing it.
Yeah, and even, for years, Bitcoin has been around for about 10 years now, and has become extremely valuable and then lost value and all this kind of stuff. But in the whole time, the IRS has only issued some very vague guidance on how it's even supposed to be treated as an asset. Like the government is just not catching up with this.
So what's Maxine Waters want to do?
I think she just wants to investigate it. She wants to make sure that Facebook can't go too far
Hit
with
pause.
this. Yeah, hit pause, exactly. Which I think is what a lot of lawmakers are approaching with privacy issues, cryptocurrency, a lot of stuff, just saying, we need to actually take a look at this.
In addition to the ways that it would keep us in the ecosphere, spending money, those of us who already use Facebook, there's great potential for emerging nations, emerging economies that don't use Facebook the way we do, but they
Right.
don't have access to banking. So
Right.
this could be developing world's bank.
And on one level, it's very utopian. It's kind of cool that, like, oh, if you, it's democratic, literally. Like, if you have some stake in this, you get to vote. Unlike, the Federal Reserve today, it's just the people who run it get to decide it, kind of through, But
Yeah.
so it's cool on one level, but yeah, it does create this whole new power system,
That's
which
right.
isn't quite tested.
And truly an existential threat to banking as we know it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, if they expand enough, yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks.